If you hear the clink, clink, clink of sweet, sweet latinum being counted, then you know it's time to get again for Audio Oomox, your source for all that's great and fun about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I am your host, Alex, with my co-host,
Brian.
And each and every week we bring you two guys, Brian being the guy who likes Trek and has seen a lot of DS9, but hasn't seen it as many times as I did, and some of it he hasn't seen at all. And so we get together and we talk about the show, we give our impressions about it. We don't do plot, point-by-point plot analysis or anything like that. We just try to get the essence of each program and bring it to you and give you the thoughts of two middle-aged dudes who have nothing better to do on Wednesday nights but record these things. So that's what we're doing. How are you, Brian?
Indeed. I'm doing well, sir. And yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really great. I'm getting ready to get to kind of a busy season for myself. I've got work picking up. I've got a couple of new clients that are starting soon, and that's that. And then I've got on my writing side, I've got a new book probably coming out around Halloween. I've got a lot of that going on, and I figure you're going to get busy too. I'm kind of concerned about you, to be honest, because your Far East travel is going to be happening soon.
It is. It's on the horizon, and so I'm actually typically fly through Hong Kong. And so there is a possibility that I will, at minimum, alter my travel trajectory and go through, either go a northern route through Beijing, Shanghai, to Tokyo, Narita Airport in Japan, in order to get to my final destination in southern China. So yeah, we'll see. I don't want to get too far off on a tangent about the political goings on in Hong Kong right now. Just suffice it to say, there's a little bit of unrest, and the Chinese government is apparently poised to put an end to any and all political uprisings against them
Well, I think we don't have to get off on this, but I do think that the time might be right for the Chinese, because this renegade province, as they call, well, that's not Hong Kong, but the renegade province of Taiwan, and then you've got the uprisings in Hong Kong, and you've got all these things going on, and then you've got an American government that seems pretty hands-off about that.
Right.
Used to be we would kind of rattle our saber and be like, don't mess around over there, guys. We tolerate this, but I get the feeling they think it's kind of anything goes right now. So we'll table that discussion, dude, for some other show. But
right.
I wish you well on that. So yeah, we're all going to get really
Thank you.
busy. We've got some news for you. I'll launch with the People's Choice Podcast Awards. Thank you, everyone who voted for us and supported us. We were so thrilled that we got nominated and got on the ballot in two categories, the People's Choice Award and the TV and Film Podcast Award. Sadly, we did not get to the finals. We did not make the slate that moved forward.
Right, but we still have, the true reward for us, as always, is you, our listeners, and that's the real reason we do it. Actually, have a couple of housekeeping notes related to some listeners.
Just that shows you how great. Chris, who sent us her wonderful audio file telling us about her favorite episodes, has agreed. We always invite people, if they want to make comments, to send it to audioomox@gmail.com. Just record it on your phone, a memo, and then just hit the button and mail it to us, audioomox@gmail.com, like Chris did. And she gave us 3 episodes she really loves. So when we get close to picking out, we're going to pick out one of those. And we invited her to come on and be our special guest, along with a previous listener, who I'm not going to say his name, because every time I do, that weird sound drop in happens and all that.
Finish.
But he knows who he is, and we love him. But Chris has agreed to come on when the time comes, so we got that. So you know what? This could happen with you too. Ever wanted to be on the show? Did you ever want to get on the show and talk about your favorite episode with a couple of dudes who, at the very least, will appreciate someone who loves Trek and DS9 as much as we do? So think that over. Chris, thank you so much for agreeing with that. We've got your contact info. In fact, what we need to do, and I'll do that soon, is to mark a calendar when we're thinking we're going to get close to those episodes and go from there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Special shout out and for the clinking of latinum that came when listener Andrew Morgan who is on Twitter, is a fan, and he sent over enough latinum to take care of our hosting fees for this month. And I'm bowled over by his generosity.
That is fantastic.
The sweetness of spirit that people have. It's like you said, Brian. We have all this love from our fans, and maybe we don't have millions of fans, not enough to get a podcast award, but we get quality, not quantity. So
right.
So we love you guys, and we thank you so very, very much about that. And you know what? Next year we'll go up for another award, perhaps. And but again, it's not about the awards. It's the real reward is, as Brian said, it's you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything else we need to mention?
I think that's it. We're going to jump in and talk about crossover, which is a really fun little episode. And the crossover is apparently a reference, I believe, to not only just a crossover from between parallel universes, but a crossover from DS9 to the original series.
Yeah, the episode was called Mirror, Mirror, and that's one that even if you haven't seen it, you've seen parts of it because it's a pop culture phenomenon or an icon to see Spock with a beard, with the goatee, the Van Dyke.
Van Dyke. Yeah.
Because that episode was in season 2 of the original series. That was around late 1967, and what happened with that one? A transporter malfunction has Scotty, Captain Kirk, Spock, and Uhura, and they're beaming up from a planet, and there's an ion storm going on. And the transporter switches them out to another universe where it's the ISS, the Imperial Starship Enterprise, and apparently the Federation is a bunch of a-holes. And well, I mean, right? And
pirates,
I mean, so
vagabonds, and
right? It's like
scoundrels.
Instead of a federation, it's an evil empire. Kirk's a despot, and Spock is a cunning henchman. In that episode, it's all kinds of fun because everybody got to really play up these quote evil stereotypes in that episode. Well, crossover, the DS9 episode, is you're right, Brian. I love how artfully you put that. Not only is it a crossover for the characters, but it's a crossover from the original series to Deep Space Nine, and it's also a sequel of sorts to
It's a whatever happened to
the MU, which is what a lot of fans call the Mirror Universe, the MU. So what we find here is Terok Nor. It's not Deep Space Nine. It's Terok Nor, and it's still orbiting Bajor. But here it's different. The Bajorans are despots. The Klingons are their toadies. The Cardassians are also their toadies. The humans have been apparently whatever Jim
enslaved.
Kirk. Yeah, because whatever James Kirk put into action back in Mirror, Mirror didn't last long because the good Kirk convinced bearded Spock that he needed to have an uprising and bring loyalty and wonderfulness to the Empire and try to overthrow it. And apparently that happened, but I can only surmise that absolute power corrupts absolutely. The humans were overthrown by the Bajorans, and what happens in this episode, though, is
so the malfunction happens when going through the wormhole. So the malfunction happens when
something's jacked up with their engine, right?
Right.
It's Kira and Bashir.
Yes. So they're in a runabout. They're going through the wormhole. And then sure enough, they get twisted into the mirror universe somehow. Again, they don't explain how that works, the science behind it, but you just take it for what it is and assume that there's a reason that the wormhole aliens decided to let this happen. But regardless, they get through.
That's a great thought, by the way. That the wormhole, the Prophets wormhole aliens didn't intercede at all, did they?
No, they just let them go on down the tube. So they come out on the other side, and Alex, as you mentioned, there's no space station outside the wormhole, and so they're kind of freaking out a little bit. They then get accosted by a Klingon vessel,
right?
Boarded by the Klingon vessel. And that's when the Klingons, this is what I would believe is one of several oh shit moments of this episode. The Klingons see Kira and they're like, oh my God, this is the wrong person to be ordering around or trying to hijack and then they escort them back, and that's when Kira, the intendant, discovers she has found Kira on the other side of the Black Mirror, and that's when they fall madly in love, apparently.
Well, the intendant, who is the evil or mirror version of Kira, you're right, of Major Kira, is apparently a raging narcissist because she falls deeply, madly in love with herself, and there's all kinds of pretty hot entanglements going on with the intendant, but basically we're not going to go plot point by plot point, but that's kind of where they are. And so this episode's a big romp through the mirror universe, but with featuring the DS9 characters. So you got Kira was running the show, she's running the station as the intendant. You got Garak as her number one, or number, he's like a right arm, and he's really sinister. Odo is a pretty diabolical and cruel slave master, basically,
right,
who carries a gun foreman, and everything.
Yeah, he's the foreman of the
ore processing plant. Yeah,
right.
So you got that. You got Smiley O'Brien, who is a beat down human who fixes things. He's a
So I'm wondering if in the original script it was supposed to be Smiles O'Brien, and then just on the fly it was changed to Smiley.
I don't know.
So I'll just call that my script hypothesis.
That's Brian's supposition.
Good old Miles Smiles.
Could be.
So
Smiley doesn't
so Ben Sisko is a space pirate
who's apparently, but he's human. But apparently he does the intendant's bidding and probably does more than just her bidding.
Yes,
but I don't think he loves doing that from the way he acted. But so you got that, and you don't have Dax.
Right.
Well, you do have Quark though. Quark though is a bartender, but he doesn't last long.
No, he doesn't.
Apparently he's got a heart of gold instead of, and it's so funny when she mentions Latinum, he's like, what's that?
What's Latinum?
That's hilarious. So there was that. Who am I missing? Is that
Bashir, of course, but they don't show the alter universe Bashir. Right. They only show
they don't show in this episode. The only Bashir you see is
the visible universe Bashir.
Yeah.
And then Miles is referred to as a tinkerer, so he's just working the ore and just trying to keep things up and running, because he seems to have just a natural ability in that regard.
Yeah. So you've got a situation where it's kind of a romp. It's a fun episode. I try not to take the Mirror Universe episodes too seriously. I just try to have fun with them.
Yeah.
The basic thing is that Kira has kind of got the run of the place because she looks like the intendant, and the intendant kind of wants to keep her in a favorable mood, so she kind of lets her run around. Bashir's having to go stuck in the ore processing plant, and sees how the humans have it there, so he's got that, but they've got to work together and figure out a way out. And their thought is, well, maybe we can get a transporter to work, and and so they're trying to do that. So anyway, the way the episode goes, it kind of barrels along and things happen. Odo comes apart at the seams after a well-timed phaser blast from
he
Bashir.
kind of ruptures into a
was that not one of the
million
shocking
droplets.
Were you shocked when you saw that? Didn't it blow you
I
away
was
a bit?
so I was actually expecting him to reconstitute like he's done when people have thrown things at him. He would kind of move out of the way, and then but no, he just became a little pile of goo there.
Of goo, and it's not living goo, so he's out.
He's gone. Quark is gone, of course.
Quark gets executed by Garak.
Yes.
And I think Garak, who's plotting and scheming against the intendant, he'll get his. We don't know. I little spoiler here. We're going to get another visit to the MU on DS9 in a while, but basically there's a lot of machinations going on here. They can't really get a transporter thing situated, so luckily at the last minute, Sisko and his crew rescue him, or at least get them sprung, and they can get in their ship, and they make it happen again and get back, and That's
Right.
it.
Yeah, just going back through the wormhole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, plot-wise, there wasn't
Yeah.
other than finding a way back, there wasn't a huge focus on we have to solve a problem
Right.
in this universe. They were just quickly trying to get away.
Yeah,
Now
it's yeah, let's just get out of here. We're not
right,
going to fix anything. We're not going to create a revolution. We're not going to give a big speech by the transporter pad like Kirk did in Mirror Mirror. We're just
right,
going to get the hell out of here, which is what I would
right.
do too.
Yeah, and there was maybe a slight manipulation of Ben's conscience.
Yeah.
There was some of Quark's conscience. Of course, it cost him his life, and of Miles, who goes from ore miner to pirate there at the end. But beyond that, yeah, it was just how can we get the hell out of here?
Yeah, and they do. And so I don't know. I've got a few things. As I say, I don't take these too seriously because it seems that most of the time when Trek goes into, well, in different series, it's different situations, but typically whenever Trek visits the mirror universe, it has very little effect on the real universe, or at least as far as this episode is concerned, it has very little
Right.
because everybody in our universe gets away. A little worse for wear, but they get away. And I'm always a big defender of Avery Brooks' acting, but I really thought this was really forced.
Yeah, a little phoned in. Yeah,
I thought he was just like, I'm going to turn on my inner Han Solo, and yeah, but to me, it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't really work very well. For me.
Although, okay, but looking at the interview that was in What We Left Behind,
Right?
with him, current day,
Yeah.
the mannerisms, those jazzy like mannerisms.
Yeah, true.
So this pirate character may have been more Avery
more
than
like
Ben.
Avery. Okay. Very nice observation. Okay, all right.
So
Okay, that's
just
nice.
a thought, because it seemed like the way he spoke was the way he smiled through his situation.
Right.
It was just the tonation of his voice and the way he built his sentences in just a melodic way.
Well, yeah.
It just seemed very Avery like.
That is a very good observation. And if I look at his performance that way, okay, I like it a little better. Here's the thing. It just took me out of it a little bit because I kept looking at him and not really listening to him because I just thought this is. But no, I think that's a good point. I think he switched kind of to that persona for this character, and that's great.
Right.
All good actors put a little of themselves into a part, so it's
Sure.
fine. So there was that. I thought that it's always fun to see how they do this, what character, like for Quark to kind of be kind of in a way like an Underground Railroad type, and
right,
a
super nice guy
who he just doesn't want to see people suffer. I mean, that's pretty cool. I always think it's a little arch though that everybody in the mirror universe has to be evil or like chaotic evil, like out of a Dungeons and Dragons game. It's like you could be in a different universe and live in a situation where things aren't great, but still not be a complete monster.
Right. Yeah,
and everybody's like a monster.
If it's if you're somewhere towards the middle, like most of us are, being on the opposite end of that just means, I don't always wash my hands, before I eat, or I don't floss. So that's my evil twin.
It could be. Well, but yeah. So I don't. So that's me. Yes. Hello. I am Milk Toast, your evil twin.
But I have an awesome Van Dyke beard.
I do. Yeah. Well, yeah.
That was the part that bothered me was, none of the DS9 people adopted the Van Dyke, and Miles, no. Avery Brooks. I mean, Ben should have. I think it's the law on the mirror universe that you grow one of those suckers,
right,
and they still didn't have one.
Of course, poor Avery Brooks was prohibited from having facial hair or shaving his head. So there was no way they were even going to let him glue one on for this episode.
So that's the Hawk rule, right?
The Hawk rule is in place. That's right. By the way, if you don't believe what we're saying about this, get the 50-Year Mission, Volume 2 by Mark A. Altman and oh, is it David Gross? But Mark A. Altman's one of the writers. You will get an oral history of DS9 that is not to be believed. In fact, I'm going to start kind of pulling some bits out of there and reading them, not on this episode, but probably later, as we mentioned previously, towards the end of the year when we have special episodes that are just kind of different themes and that aren't really about a specific episode of DS9. Well, I'll probably pull some out of there. But there's this whole thing about the hair. And this whole thing where Ira Stephen Bear goes to the mat to get Brooke's hair. And I'm not going to give it away now how it all worked out, because obviously it did work out. But it's a pretty funny story, and I'll read it. I promise you. But awesome. So you're right. I mean, even if Quark had had a dam, of course, I don't
see, that would have been hilarious.
It would have been hilarious
with a.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ferengi even can grow any hair, but that's what have made it even funnier. Or what if what if they just said to him, Quark, what is that on your face? He's like, I think it makes me look attractive or approachable.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Or put one on Garak, or put one on, I mean, anybody. Sure. Kira, intendant with a beard.
Yes. That would have been perfect.
Oh man. Okay, we digressed into the
okay. So that was my little notes was right. The science stuff. There was really such a half-hearted attempt at explaining how they got there and how they got back.
And I'm okay with that. I really am. I mean, I write things, and it's like sometimes I once wrote a book and I was sweating over, I don't think these details work. I was like, I haven't really explained how this might happen. My editor goes, oh my God, nobody cares but you. Just get to it. And I was like, right. Oh, that's true. You really don't care how many nautical miles it is between Key West and Jamaica, do you? No, not really.
Not really.
And how long it would take a boat with this type of engine in choppy waters to get there? Not really. Just get there and get the adventure started. So that's what they did. So there's that. I things I did like. I liked. There's some lighthearted moments. There's some funny stuff. The way they shot Deep Space Nine, that set looked gorgeous. They did some kind of kooky camera angles to kind of let you know you're not in Kansas anymore. They did some of that stuff, which was all right. I think performance-wise, I think Nana did a great job. She was, and by the way, almost everybody's chewing scenery here, and that's not a crime when you're in the MU. I think the actors should be allowed to just twirl their mustaches and chew the scenery. She did a fantastic job, and I got to admit, she's pretty damn sexy.
Yeah. I mean that I locked into just and not just the physical, but just the way she played the